how's it going today, this week, this month? How are we? You're listening to an episode of a podcast called the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're ready for a good old chit chat between me, your host, Raven, and your other host.
Hey, that's me. I'm Mark.
I think my voice cracked. As
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
that was so awkward.
Puberty.
Hey guys, I'm just now hitting puberty. Is that how that works?
Yes. You're gonna start experiencing some changes. You're gonna start getting hair in funny places. Your voice is gonna get really deep, and you're gonna start noticing girls in a different way.
All right. I guess I'm in, guys. What's up, man?
There was a story I heard, speaking of puberty, there was a story I heard a couple of years back about a guy who was in his mid-20s and had not gone through puberty yet.
Oh.
Like I can't remember the kind of, exact details of the thing, but I looked it up after I heard it just to verify that it just wasn't nonsense.
Yeah.
But basically his body just never dumped the chemicals. It said, cool, puberty. And he said that it was weird when he finally went through puberty in like his mid-20s, because he went from like noticing all the females, because he had like a full job working in an office. Like he had done graduated college and he was working in an office, and I guess he didn't have any basis for comparison, so like when his body was like going through this change, he like started noticing all his female coworkers differently and all of this. And once, like, after he went through it, he was like, man, this is weird. Like, I'm kind of glad that I went through it as an adult, because I could, I could rationalize these thoughts that I was having.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine doing this when I was like 13, man. How did y'all do it?
I mean, I guess it's good that he like thought about it rationally to be like, well, I guess this is why I'm feeling this way, and it wasn't just like, yo, Bethany's boobs are looking good today. Let me go say something for it. And then like an HR thing gets taken in, and everyone's just like, dude, what just happened? Also, can you imagine being in like a work meeting and your voice just starts cracking and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's because he's going through puberty.
Yeah. Can you just, oh man, this is so weird. Like there's such a weird, cause pubescent boys are gross and dirty, and just like the wind blows and it turns them on. Can you imagine being like late 20s and just like, oh, Janice, and be like, oh no, you're taking a boardroom meeting or something like that, and you're just like, I gotta go.
Right? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. That would be so awkward to even just have to like know. Like if he was just like, yeah, I never hit puberty. Like what if he was like super honest and open about it, and at some point everyone was just like, hey, something's up with our man over here. He's sweating a lot. Also, like you saying the nastiness about like boys during that time, I hate it. I never like really knew about it and like or thought about it as I was growing up, because I was also doing my own thing of puberty and whatnot, so everyone's just super uncomfortable and embarrassed about themselves. But Chris and my old general manager from the Regal like would tell us about her youngest going through like essentially puberty, and just like how he would not bathe for like weeks. And we were just so disgusted by it. Like my man literally fell asleep eating chicken nuggets, woke up, his head was all over the plate of chicken nuggets. So then he's like sitting there playing video games, and their dog comes up and is just like, "Ooh, hair smelling good today, my guy." Just face bombing in it. And he's just like, "I don't understand what's happening." And his mom was just like, "You're fucking gross. That's what it is."
That's wild. And just for the record, as the father of two girls, girls are gross too.
I believe it. Yeah.
Like, you know, everyone wants to say, "Oh man, you young boys are gross." Girls are just as gross.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
No, absolutely.
It's the same but different struggle.
Yeah.
So,
So your brother just
wild.
tried to like nonchalantly creep down the stairs, and now just watching him. Oh, he got the new Zelda game, and he's been playing that.
we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that later. I've dedicated a special section of the show just for that.
I believe it. Chris, give me a rating on what you think of the new Zelda game so far.
I played 20 minutes of it. It's good.
20 minutes of it.
I played 20 minutes of it. It's good.
Oh yeah, he did play in the car for a little bit yesterday.
I want to hear his review after about 6 hours.
Okay. All right. Blam! Put, pump, kick. Spider whip that bitch.
Hey Raven, are you ready to talk about this week's movie?
Yeah, I'm ready to spider whip a bitch. Is that a thing? Does he do that? I would think that
I don't
he would
know.
like take a web and
Is
then
it-
just like pull him in and then bam, you know.
You sound like a pimp Spider-Man. Yeah, I want to spider pimp slap that bitch
Hey, maybe that's a new one in the new movie.
in the new movie. Yeah. So this week we are talking about the first Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Whoop whoop.
So, Raven, this isn't your first time watching this movie, is it?
Oh, of course not.
Okay, good. Well, you know what? I don't think I've asked you this question in at least two weeks, maybe 3. I don't know. Raven, what did you think of Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse?
This is a movie that I like genuinely love. I love every aspect of this movie. And it would probably be in like my top rated movies if it was, you know, horror, probably. Because that's like all of my top rated movies. But dude, I went to see this movie for the first time when it first came out with Chris and my grandfather. And I was just like so immersed in it. And then I just like, as soon as it came out, so you can watch it like on, I think it was on Netflix or something, I just kept watching it like on repeat every other week. It's beautiful. If you people have not seen the first one, you must. It's so good.
Yeah.
Mark, what is your feelings about this movie?
I think this might be the most perfect Spider-Man movie.
Facts.
And that's saying a lot, seeing how we have like literally 10 Spider-Man movies. I think this covers literally every base you need in a Spider-Man movie. It gives Miles his own, it gives Miles an origin story who has been gaining popularity in the comics. And no, this is great. Like you tell a story where it's an origin story / multiverse story, and somehow doesn't get muddled in the story.
Right?
That's a lot of story. Yeah, it's a perfect film. I love it. It's from an animation standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint,
Just beautiful.
just everything. I think I can't remember which how to make or behind the scenes thing I was watching, but they made the comment of you could literally stop it at any frame, at any point in the movie, any frame, and it looks like a comic book panel. And that's true.
Yeah.
And I noticed this time watching it more of the comic lettering in the background, the boos and the smacks and whaps and thwaps and thwips and all that.
Yeah.
I noticed it more this time, and it was just, oh man. Like, I think after we decided on this movie last week, I think, because we recorded like early in the day last week, because it was a holiday weekend and we wanted to go do fun nerd stuff. I got off the call with you, and I think that evening I watched it. And usually I wait until the last minute to watch the movie. I watched it that evening and was like, man, this is good. Like, it was one of those things, like, I started watching it, and then the next thing I know, like, it's the final action scene. You know, everything's going crazy. Super, super great, man.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I also love, like, I know that you pulled on, like, the little background stuff. I love anytime they got, like, the Spidey sense, or they do, like, a little animated, like, the little bars above them, because they're like, what? Like, stuff like that. It's just so cute. I wish you could find, like, shows that were also animated in the same style.
Right.
Of just, like, here's a cute little cartoony bit. Because everything, especially nowadays, like, I feel like a lot of, like, the animations, sure, they look super crisp for the most part, but, like, they don't have, like, that character that the Spider-Verse definitely gives.
Right. And I don't know. Let's start from the top, because there's a lot of cast to cover in this movie, and I want to talk about, because I remember when this movie came out a couple years ago, that everyone was talking about Shamik Moore, who played Miles Morales, and Jake Johnson, who played Peter Parker, and Haley Steinfeld too. So they were talking about mainly those three, like, oh man, these three are in the movie, blah 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 blah, and they never once, I cannot recall a single time, because he wasn't in any of the press, any of the junkets, or anything like that. He pulled a Bradley Cooper, and that's Chris Pine, who is the first Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that voice at the beginning, I was like, man, that doesn't sound like Jake Johnson. That doesn't sound like him. Like, what? Who is this voice? And I couldn't pin it. And when the credits rolled and I saw that it was Chris Pine, I was like, holy shit. How is this guy just, like, he killed it. He was like, I kind of want to see him in a spider suit now.
Yeah. He literally was just like, here, have a little sprinkling of this. And everyone's just like, okay. You come back from the dead?
And I really like how that they changed the story up just slightly from the comics. Just slightly from the comics, to where it made it its own thing. It's wild, because I feel like Miles has kind of gotten like three different origin stories, if you will, three very popular different origin stories. There's the comic one when he came out, and then I guess Marvel didn't really like that so much, so they kind of revamped it a little bit for this. Just a little bit. Like, the core foundation's still there, and that's basically, you know, he got bit by the spider or whatever. And then there's the Spider-Man video game. Really popular Spider-Man video game came out a few years ago that they introduced Miles Morales in, and his origin story is completely different. And then they gave him his own game, and his story is different from there too. And my poor man Miles, just three different origin stories, but they're all great. And I think it's only a matter of time before he gets thrown into live action. And I'm excited. I cannot wait for that to happen, because I know that whoever they get to play Miles is going to kill it. It's going to be spectacular.
Ooh. and then we get another crazy Spider-Man thing where it's four people doing the spider showdown. Actually, we got to bring in Gwen. So like, let's just round it out to a nice five of just like Spider-Man, you're Spider-Man, you're Spider-Man. Actually, I'm Spider-Gwen. Get fucked. And everyone's just like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Ma'am, this is a PG-13 movie.
Well, you know what? You can.
I was
You're
about to
just
say,
like, nope.
yeah, this is my one time I can say it. Well, looking at this cast of, the of all the famous people that are in this movie, this is literally like a who's who. Like if you came to me in 2018, or even today for that matter, and said, who do you want to cast in a Spider-Man movie for an animated Spider-Man movie? I think the only person that I would change, and not saying this is bad, but only because I was not aware of him prior to Spider-Verse, is that's Shamik Moore. I did not know who this man was beforehand. I had not seen Dope. I was just not familiar with him. Mm-hmm. But my man came in, killed it. Everyone else, like I am huge fans of. Obviously, Haley Steinfeld, Marshall, I'm going to butcher his name, Marshall Ali, Brian Tyree Henry. I'm a huge Brian Tyree Henry fan. My man from Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Yes. Lily Tomlin, Catherine Hahn, Zoe Kravitz, John Mulaney, Nicolas freaking Cage. Get out of here with that.
Get out of here.
And I love the jokes they gave him. Spider-Man Noir. The Rubik's Cube joke to me was just literally had me just laughing almost to the point of tears. I don't know why that joke struck me as funny as it did, but
your kids walk by and they're just like, why is he crying?
And, well,
Watching
the weird
Spider-Verse.
The weird thing is that would not be the dumbest thing that they've seen me laugh and or cry to. So yeah.
That's also very fair.
Raven, yeah. What did you think of how they tackled like this universe of spider people? Like the villains, the heroes, everything else.
I liked who was it? Essentially Doc Ock. I thought she was super fucking cool. I like that she's just like this scientist, and then she's just like, oh my god, Spider-Man, you're alive, blah 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 blah. Can't wait to watch you glitch out, bitch. And then she just like reveals herself and you're like, oh, okay. I thought she was super cool. When you like see the Green Goblin and you're like, this thing's a fucking monster, as opposed to what you're used to seeing in the original Spider-Man movies, where it's just like, what's up? I'm riding around on a little hoverboard.
Yeah.
And he's just like, literally like 3 times the size of Spider-Man. It's crazy. I like the villains. I like that they all have like their own cool little distinct personalities. Also, what was the main guy's name?
Kingpin?
Yeah. The fact that was just like a big ass man and he's just like, hey, how's it going? At that little like Spider-Man banquet thing. He's just like, I was so close to him. And then you like, know that he took them big ass meaty hands and just hammered down on Spider-Man. Rip. But I love just the way that you like meet all the new Spider-Man characters where, you have Miles, Parker, and Quasi. Goodness gracious. Gwen Stacy that just like show up at Aunt May's house and they're like, hey, so this is like a little crazy. And she's just like, you guys showed up from a multiverse? Come on in. And they're just like, what? Okay.
Yeah, Aunt May's all about it. She's like, nope, cool, secret basement, got it.
Also, the fact that she was over there talking to Miles and was just like, during that like whole interrogation scene where everyone is like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you set up an online dating profile so Aunt May has something to do on the weeknights? I was like, damn. Aunt May's trying to get down. What's up, guys? I think it's a really good cast. It's everyone just does great. I love Miles and like his little singing bits where sometimes you're like, yeah, I know all the words, and you're like, da, 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 and then you just like start singing the actual words, because that's what he kept doing. Is he'd be like singing the words, and then he'd be like, da, da, which I definitely do all the time, even if I know the words.
I think they did that scene when he's got his headphones on. I think it's beginning and he's singing the song. Mm-hmm. Again, same behind the scenes thing I saw was they were talking about that scene in particular, that they started animating that scene before they even had that song done. So
okay,
yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, so once they got it, they kind of had to like work it to what they already had. But the song, like they had like a rough kind of like, hey, here's kind of the tempo of the song, and here's how you got to do it. Here's kind of what it sounds like.
Here's what it sounds like, but don't make it so obvious that we get fucking yeeted out of this bitch.
I really also like how Peter Parker Part 2 Peter B. Parker, when they do his intro story, basically how like he is the Spider-Man who was great and then just basically his life just fell apart.
Yeah.
That's such a good story beat, and then now this story is not just about just Miles learning how to be Spider-Man, but it's Peter Parker learning how to be Spider-Man and Peter Parker again. Mm-hmm. Gwen Stacy kicks ass this entire movie. So, I mean, her story is basically like, we got to get back home. So, right. Yeah, like she was, yeah. I will say this, that this movie made a couple of my comic books that I've had for years and years and years skyrocket in value. Oh. And yes, nice. I do have the first appearance of Spider-Gwen in comic form. I am really curious to see if they introduce a few more characters that they've introduced over the last decade in Spider-Man books in this new movie, because that would make me really happy.
I was also really hoping that. Just like watching it, and especially that like little end piece at just like the very end of the movie, where she's like, Miles, you got a second? Like, I almost want it to be like, when you're watching Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
And he's literally just like, you just like find so many different versions of him, just like back to back. Like, that's really cool to like think about. And the fact that Miles was over there like, yeah, it's just what it is. It's just cool.
Yeah, watching this movie this week got me really hype for Across the Spider-Verse. And if it's the best review that I've heard from it so far was a buddy of mine who went to go see it Friday. And he got out of the theater and immediately hit our group text that we have. Mm-hmm. And said, how Breath of the Wild feels like a demo for Tears of the Kingdom? Or like, like the beta version of Tears of the Kingdom? I was like, yes. He said, that's the way Spider-Verse feels for Across the Spider-Verse. I was like, get the hell out of here. He's like, it was fantastic. Go see it in the theater on the biggest screen you possibly can. I was
That's
like,
very exciting.
noted. So I think that might be what I do Thursday.
Ooh. I can't wait to see it. I am really excited to go see it. I know that there's been like some issues with the sound because Chris was working the day that it came out, and so like of course like people are coming out of the theater to be like, "Hey, what's up with your sound quality? Can you like fix this?" And they're like, "Oh no. This is the movie. The movie like production fucked up with this." Because it would be like really quiet at times when it was like it does not need to be this quiet. So hopefully that gets fixed.
All right.
Because you heard about that from Chris.
Yeah, I heard about it from Chris.
So hopefully that's something that they've already fixed, but I don't know. I have not heard more from it since obviously Chris has not been working.
Yeah, I need to reach out to my buddy. I meant to ask him, if he was having audio problems during his showing, and yeah.
Do it.
So, and of course, because all good things comes in threes, as I'm sitting here trying to gather information on the fly, I guess they have already announced a third Spider-Man movie, Spider-Verse movie.
What?
So strap in.
I'm staying strapped, dog.
Listen, kind of a callback to what you were talking about earlier with the is it you doing the thing? The post-credit scene on this movie. Did you know there was a post-credit scene? Did you watch all the way through the credits? Yeah, the first time I watched this movie, I didn't, and I was like you when it came out on Netflix. I was watching it again, and I was like, you know what? Let me just check and see if there's something at the end of this movie. And then I was genuinely upset. I didn't stick around in the theater to see this, but when they did the spider meme, I was like, oh yeah, they get it. Like if this whole 2-hour movie wasn't proof enough that they got it, but they, when they start doing the memes and stuff, you're like, okay, cool. You're not just studio executives going, yes, here's the formula. Let's do the formula because the formula.
Exactly. You're like, give the people what the people really want.
Right.
And what the people want are memes.
You got to respect a good meme.
Of course. God bless memes.
What?
I remember when the last Spider-Man movie came out, the Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and
Far From Home?
Yes, Far From Home. Thank you. And I was working it at like the Chattanooga Regal, and I just remember seeing some guy walk up to my register, and he had like a shirt on like that, but it was all of their like costumes of the 3 Spider-Man. So I was like, okay, that's good. I was like, thank you, sir. And he was probably like early 50s, and he was just like, it's one of my favorite things ever. And I was like, you're doing God's work out here. Go enjoy your movie. But yeah. This is just like an overall great movie. Like it's something that like anyone can watch. Of course kids will be like, whoa, look at this, look at all the color. But even like, I feel like older people would also still enjoy it because they're just like, oh, this isn't like one of your regular little shit cartoons that I'm used to watching with my grandkids. This isn't some Dora the Explorer type shit,
Yeah.
Like it's something that's like intriguing, but it also has like you said, like a really good plot, and it just doesn't fall and break apart as many plots do sometimes.
Yeah, this is such a fantastic movie. I know I said that at the top, but this is I remember when it came out, and I'm trying to remember what Pixar movie came out this year, but I remember that my first thought was that if this does not win an Oscar for Best Animated Film, then I'm going to riot, because there's no reason for this not to win.
Are you talking about this year?
No,
Or like last year?
2018 when it came out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. It's just so beautiful. Like they use, like, I guess it's color theory. I don't know. Chris could probably tell me, but like their entire palette for everything for each scene was just beautiful. Like you can look off into the background and be like, wow, that looks really great. Whereas you're used to watching like animes and you look in the background and you're like, why the fuck does Pikachu literally just look like a blob with two sticks on it?
Yeah.
Like, it's wonderful.
So I checked it out, and here are the other movies that it was up against for Best Animated Feature of the Oscars. It was up against Incredibles 2,
Okay.
Isle of the Dogs, which I know the Academy loves Wes Anderson. So that's kind of what I pictured stood like what was probably a close second. An anime movie, which Miari, I have no idea what this is. And Ralph Breaks the Internet, which I could have told you Ralph Breaks the Internet wasn't going to win anything. Like it was fine, but it was not. No, I don't even know what this anime movie is. All right, that's for a different time. But yeah, the only one that I really thought, because the Academy also loves Pixar very much, but The Incredibles 2 is no Incredibles. Spider-Man far and away was the shoo-in to win by a wide margin. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
And as far as the movies that were nominated for Best Picture of the Year, oh boy, this was a year. The Green Book, A Star Is Born, Black Klansman, Black Panther, Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, Vice, and The Favorite. I could think of at least 4 of these movies that I would much rather watch, or that I would much rather like watch Spider-Man before at least half of these movies.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I only watched one of those movies, but since I was working at the theater, I did know a lot of what was going on during that time. I remember that the Spider-Verse, like, was winning them Oscars. They were like, yeah, here, give us all this shit. But did they end up using? Did they end up winning the best movie of the year, or was it Wakanda Forever?
Black Panther?
Yeah. Yeah, Black Panther.
No, it did not win. The Green Book won.
I don't even know what the heck
that is a movie about, let's see, it stars Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. God, I cannot say his name. I'm sorry. It is a guy who becomes a driver for an African-American classical pianist on a tour of venues through 1960s American South.
Yeah, I do not remember this movie at all. I don't think we actually showed this. Maybe that's why I don't remember it. I remember A Star Is Born, though. Oh, man. Thing was popping off.
Bradley Cooper.
The real star of the movie, Miss Gaga.
Yeah, I remember that they almost kissed on the Oscars and cost Bradley Cooper his marriage.
Oop.
At least that's what I'm gonna say.
Ooh.
Because I remember after that, I was like, man, they really looked like they were about to kiss. Like, they really looked like they were in love. And Lady Gaga was like, oh, no, we were just acting because, if we didn't do that, everyone would be all upset and whatever. And I think it was like 3 weeks after that, 2 weeks after that, it's like Bradley Cooper files for divorce, or his wife files for divorce. I'm like, ooh.
Even though I'm pretty sure Lady Gaga was also married at the time. And then,
Possibly.
her and her man have just been, going strong. Poor Bradley Cooper. R.I.P. my mans.
Are you ready for some stats? I got some stats for you here on Into the Spiderverse.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Had a budget of $90 million. Budget of $90 million. Its first domestic opening, I guess opening day, made $35 million. Made a third of its budget back. Its domestic total, $190 million. International total, $194 million. Worldwide grand total, $384 million and some change.
Oh my goodness.
Now, keep those numbers in mind. Domestic, 190. Let's go see how good Spider-Man did this weekend. I don't have how much budget it was, but let's just talk about how much money it made this weekend. Domestic, so far, $120 million.
Oh my god.
So it's already made $208 million worldwide, and it's been out for 3 days. So go ahead and strap in for that, because we got probably $1 billion movie on our hands here.
It's out there just banging away.
Yeah.
And it's gonna keep going. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine just being like, "Yep, this is our profit revenue. We did it, boys."
I would really love to talk to the guys who directed and produced this movie and be like, how nervous are you going into something like this? Like, you got a hit, but you also know that if it's bad, like, you'll have a good first weekend and then you'll have nothing. But if it's good, you're just going to have, like, what do you do if it's a super big hit? Are you guys just high-fiving? Are you nervous? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your opening weekend like?
True. At what point do you expect it to really drop off? Or is it just going to be a movie that just keeps filling the crowds for at least the first month?
Right.
That's what it was for the Spider-Man No Way Home. I worked it until I left for Kentucky, and I couldn't go see it at all because the seats were just getting taken every single day. We were completely selling out of it. So I don't think I actually saw that movie until like a month and a half, maybe 2 months after it came out. And even still, when Chris and I went in there, it was packed. So maybe this movie will do something like that. Because I feel like after that movie, it's just going to like help keep the Spider-Man going, alive, doing all his cool things. And so this movie will just continue to push it forward, especially for whenever the next Tom Holland Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah.
Because then people are going to be like, oh, at some point are we going to get a Miles Morales cameo in there? And since they were pretty good about keeping the secret of the trifecta of Spider-Mans going in, people definitely like had their little bits of like, it could happen. And then, of course, there's the people that are out there like, no, we know that it's going to happen. And then, of course, there's people that are also like, there's no way it's going to happen. Like, Tobey Maguire's old. You think he's going to be a Spider-Man at this point? No, he's coming out of retirement. Thank you. Well, that's cool.
Also, quick shout out to Lord and Miller, who have become the most fun and like just best producers and directors and writers in Hollywood. Like if their name is attached to it, you know it's going to be good. They've done, like Clone High, the Lego movie, Mitchell's and the Machines. They produced Cocaine Bear. They've done let's see. These were the guys who, I hate to say this, but these were the guys that got fired on a Solo movie. And then Ron Howard came in and finished up production. They did, let's see, what else have they done? I guess they produced a Little Big Planet movie. They've done Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, they've done all kinds of stuff. And it's wild, man. Like, they've really done just some really good stuff. And yeah, I love them. And they do good work. And I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. Although I feel like I could also watch like more of their stuff. I've never I work for the Lego movie, but I didn't ever watch it and I've never seen it. And so now I know that you're like, but the Lego movie is good, so we're going to have to watch it.
Yeah.
Which I guess, it's fine with me. I don't think even Chris watched it. So
it's a whole lot better than it has any right being. Because on paper, it sounds really dumb.
Yes.
I remember when it came out, it was the same thing with the Trolls movie. It was like, oh my God, what are they going to do with the Trolls? How are they going to make a movie out of Legos, right? That's going to be so dumb. And yeah, here we are, 2 Lego movies later. And 3 Trolls movies? So.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better than the Emoji Movie. I don't know if you had to go watch that for your girls, but
no,
that was some trash. Like, we would just you gotta go check the theaters, make sure everything's going good, and you just walk it and be like, Jesus, how did this get made? Like, who decided, let's fund this? Because everybody likes emojis. No.
I will say this. The one movie that I went to see with the kids, and I think it was just Alice, and I hated it. And usually I can make the best out of a bad situation because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the theater and I'm just sitting here eating popcorn and just having a good time. Mm-hmm. No, we went to go see the 3rd Alvin and the Chipmunk movie, The Road Trip.
Yeah.
Boy, was I not happy about that. Because we went and saw that, and I was like, this movie is terrible. Yeah.
Did Alice like it?
I don't even know.
Because, as a parent, your kid will obviously like things that you're just like, this is the stupidest shit ever. Why? But they, put it on blast, and they're like, this is everything to me.
Yeah, no, we did, Frozen. Actually, I think Frozen was the first movie she saw in the theater. There wasn't a cruise ship, because the first movie I guess she saw in a theater was Wreck-It Ralph, and then she was like, this is great. I want to go to more movies. And I was like, cool, this Frozen movie just came out, and we went and saw that. That was real fun. What else?
I wish I could have seen Frozen in theaters. At that point, I think I was in, high school when Frozen came out, and I just, was so away from, that period of, Disney, because I was just doing my own thing, doing my school stuff. And then I remember at some point we watched it in choir, because it was just oh, this is the last week of school. Who cares? Let's just watch this. And I remember just sitting there and being like, oh man, this is a good movie. And it became my little sister's obsession. And so I did end up watching it a lot. But it's so good. So then when the second one came out, I was like, Chris, let's go watch it. And he was just like, okay, that's fine. I think it was more that he just didn't want to have to deal with like a bunch of little kids in the movie theater, which I can also understand. Watching a movie as people that are not necessarily like, yay, kids, like we're like, they're here. But it was like a lot of like other adult couples that were just like, let's go watch this cute Disney movie, which was nice.
Yeah.
But, as you, a parent, you're just like, kid functions are what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta go to them, man. It's all good. You know? I look at it as I may hate it while I'm doing it, but I can usually turn it into a fun story later.
Yeah, because
So,
you're like, some kid will do something stupid that you can be like, oh, listen to this. Or, what was it that you went to like something on a Saturday and you saw some couple wearing matching Mickey and Minnie pajamas or something? And you
oh
instantly texted Chris and me and were like, you guys.
no, that was at my kids' field day or something, it was a family day or something. They had a bunch of carnival games and stuff at school, and yeah, it was a Saturday. That's right, because I was like, why have it on Saturday?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was the whole family wearing matching pajamas, and I could not believe it. Me and my buddy, me and my best friend were like, look at these dudes. Don't look, look at them, look at them.
All right.
Yeah, it was wild. I couldn't believe it.
See, I guess that's the thing Chris and I'll just, unfortunately miss on. But at
Yeah,
least we got you out there in the field.
yeah, I'm doing the dirty work. Oh. All right, well, I'm good on the old Spider-Verse, man. I'm ready to I'm ready to talk about our weeks we had. You got anything else you want to say before we officially change topics?
What would you rate this Spider-Man movie? 10
Oh,
radioactive spiders as the highest.
oh man. You know, I think I'm gonna have to give this one. I think I'm gonna have to give this one like. I think 10 radioactive spiders out of 10 because I really cannot think of anything that I would change to make this movie better. Like legitimately, I can't think of a single solitary change I would make.
Good. I'm glad that you also agree with me because I also think that this is a 10 out of 10. Just hit it out the ballpark. So, very excited for the next one. Hope it is also a 10 out of 10.
Apparently, it's a 15 out of 10.
Ooh.
So,
Love that.
but we'll have to see it. We'll have to see it and then come on here and compare notes. So, for sheezy. So look forward to that, everybody, in like the next couple weeks. I'm sure that we're gonna go see it.
Okay. I'm excited. Hee
All
But
right,
yeah, let's get to it.
let's do it. Raven, let's talk about my favorite part of the whole week. Tell me what has made you happy this week.
Ooh, it's been kind of a rough week. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Uh, I had some good clients. Uh, Looking forward to my vacation because I'm like, okay, it's only a few more weeks until my whole family goes off to Ireland, and then I just get to have a week off for work. So I'm very excited about that. But on Friday night, Chris and I were supposed to do D&D with the homies, and then he just started feeling real bad. He was like, I don't know if I can play because I just like feel like I'm ready to just puke at any moment. And so I'm like, that's okay. I'm also super tired. I don't think I'm going to get a nap in before we do it. So let's just kind of skip. Which was honestly a really good thing because at some point, Mudslide got pretty sick, and we ended up rushing him to the emergency vet because he had white gums and his tongue was super white. And so my aunt and my uncle ended up meeting us over at the vet. And so we literally sat there for like 3 hours just waiting to hear anything. And Chris eventually walks up and he's like, we've been here for a hot minute. I feel like everyone else has gotten like word at least that Fluffy's doing good back there. How is our dog? And the lady was just like, okay, let me go check real quick. And then they come out and they're like, okay, everything's going good. He's stable. The doctor's just trying to get out some of these patients just so he can have time to like chat with you about what's up. So all in all, we go to the vet to essentially find out that our dog is actually full of shit and just super gassy. So he, like, when we took him to the vet, he was just so pathetic, and I was like, I've never seen Mudslide like this. Like, saying the F word, his favorite word ever, food, he, like, had no reaction to. And when we got him back, he was like, oh my god, Mom, Dad, hey, I missed you guys. Why are we here? They did some weird stuff to me. Let's go home. And Chris and I were so hungry, so we went through cookout, and the girls at the window were like, oh my god, your dog's so cute. And I was like, thanks. He just came back from the vet, so he's feeling a little puny, but at the same time, he's like so excited. He's like sticking his head out the window like, what's up, ladies? And they're like, can we give him a little doggy ice cream? And while it was a really rough night, just seeing Mudslide just be so happy and content with his little ice cream because he had like nothing in his stomach other than whatever meds and fluids the doctors gave him. I was just like, thank God our dog isn't sick. He doesn't have like some anemia issue, any autoimmune disorders. It's just that our dog has so much anxiety that if cars or people walk by, he will not poop. So, all that to say that my best part of the week is just finding out that Mudslide is a shy pooper and that he is still very much with us for a long haul. And I love my boy deeply. We also didn't realize that they like, because of his coloring, like we didn't realize that they like shaved his arm, but obviously they would have to put in an IV and stuff. But when we got home, I looked at his little leg and we just like laughed at it because it just looks so silly. And I like keep playing with the skin. And he's just like, I don't understand what's happening, but as long as Mom's petting me, this is cool. How about you, Mark? What has made you happy this week?
I have two things. The first thing, and they're in no particular order. The first thing, I'm super proud of Alice because she is doing a summertime theater camp. And she's been doing this theater camp for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And usually, you know, I guess because of her age or whatever, get it, boo. Cough that thing up.
All right, I think he's done.
Okay. But because she's been doing, you know, she's been doing this theater camp for the last 3 years, and she's been progressively getting better and better and better at singing and dancing and doing the whole nine, because she was Mrs. Potts in her school play this year for Beauty and the Beast. I was really hoping that when she went to theater camp this year that she wouldn't be relegated to the ensemble. You know, she is in 8th grade going into high school. And I was like, man, I really hope that she gets a speaking part and gets, you know, it's because the school that's doing this is a school that she's going to go to. So I was really hoping that she'd get a good part, and she got a good part. They're doing Annie, and she has a big speaking role, and she gets to sing and do all the things and stuff. And I'm super proud of her. It's going to be great.
Aw.
So
I know she's like, super jazzed about that too.
She is. And even though last year, like, I was super proud of her too, even though she was ensemble, because she danced her ass off last year. Like, she was moving and grooving, popping and locking, and I was just like, when she got done. I remember last year, like, I walked up to her and I gave her a big old hug, and I was like, kiddo, you killed that shit. Like, I remember that. I was like, man, that was, damn, you did good. She was like, thanks. I'm like, no. Like, that was the best I've seen you do it ever. So I really can't wait to see her do this play. And the kids, to be fair, these kids learn everything, the singing, the dancing, memorize their scripts, the whole thing in like the course of like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they put in a lot of work. So yeah. Thing number 2. I have beat Tears of the Kingdom yesterday.
Oh boy.
And let me say this. After having played this game for what my Switch says 125 hours, I have still not I have not gotten all the shrines. I have not done even half of the side quest I can do. I have collected nowhere near half of the armor that I can actually collect. It is I still have a lot more game to play. I did the main quest and the final quest, and this game is a masterpiece. This game is the best Zelda game ever. I don't think I can ever go back to playing Breath of the Wild because my brain is now conditioned for Tears of the Kingdom. But this, yeah, it is great. It is so much fun. I know I say this every week. I cannot wait to get Chris's full. I want to talk to him when he's about 10 hours in and be like, where are you at? What are you doing? Because at that point, he should have a good feel for the game. It is taking just about all of my free time over the last 3 weeks. And it's like, I finished it. I set the game down. I walked out of my room and just sat on the couch and just rejoined the world. And then
hello.
And then about 2 hours later, I went and got my Switch off the dock and started playing it in the living room. But yeah, it is. Yeah, this game is still phenomenal. Still learning new tricks and tips and finding new stuff. And I cannot wait to put in another 200 more hours. There, I said it.
I mean, I get it. I love video games that have the fun little side quest to go and do stuff. Like Chris's, for Sword and Shield, it was like, hey, can you help me find all my Diglets? Chris would get so annoyed because he's just like, this isn't part of the plot. And I'm like, but I have to find the Diglets. Like, I love just like stuff like that, where it's just like, sure, this has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but it's just a good time. Like, it's a game that you love, that you're having a great time playing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anyone ruin your sparkle, Mark. You go do your little side quest.
Oh, I am. So, Raven, tell everyone where they can find us on the social medias.
If you look for the Nerd for No Reason podcast on anything, you'll probably find us, because that's kind of where we hang out. On the Twitters, the Instagrams. I think we still have a Facebook, technically. You can find me on Instagram at That's a Raven Ellis, or we got some Twitters that I feel like Twitter is all that like ever takes up most of my time if I'm on my phone. I am addicted to the stupidest stuff I can find online, whether it's cringy or just like comforting and cute. So that would be spooky_Raven. Mark, tell these people your locations.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TurtlesDoIt. because that's a cool name. Yeah, for sure. Oh, real quick. I was checking the stats as I was kind of like doing some pre-show work for this episode, filling in, like just doing housekeeping on the back end of like getting ready to post, and I noticed that we have a slight bump in listeners this week. A lot of, I say a lot, more people listen to our Fight Club episode, and I don't know how accurate this is or not, but it seemed like they were all from Scotland. And I don't know if it's just the one person who downloaded the same episode a bunch of times, but I just want to say Scotland, like for real, is like my favorite place in the world. So Scotland, if you're the ones listening, God bless you. I love you. Keep listening, man. Like you guys were already number one, but y'all ain't just got to be number one and listen to my podcast too. Like that's just, I feel like that's having my cake and eating it too. So yeah, I love you, Scotland.
It's the whole nation of Scotland.
It is. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's the whole nation of Scotland. I love all of you. So hopefully one day I can come back there and just have the time of my life again for the 4th time. So, and with that, everybody go and do something wonderful in the world today.
Guys, go and just some cool medias, and we'll see you again here next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Whoop whoop. Goodbye.